The other day, one of our speakers was telling that he hurt his arm and he could not thank God for that. He's not evolved enough to thank God to be injured. But we don't know what happened if he didn't, because he couldn't get a worse injured just because he would keep trying to do exercises that was like a more, takes more demanding for him. We don't know what happens, but sometimes it happens. It is hard for us to understand everything, but understand something. When you pray, it's not your body, it's not the thing that was made for us to live in this planet that talks. When you pray, your soul speaks. So what happened when your soul speaks first? There's not too much need when the soul speaks for material things, because the soul doesn't live out of material things, right? Before it's a word, prayer is a vibration. Bingo. And sometimes the soul speaks louder in silence than the mouth ever could. Sometimes we say, your noise speaks so loud that I cannot hear what you're saying. Prayer is the opposite. It's silence, it's enclosed, and it's more powerful than any noise that you can create. But you need to know why you're praying for. That is an old saying in Brazil that would say that the more I pray, the more spooky people appear in front of me. And my father used to tell me that. And if he was alive today, my advice would be, think about who you're praying for. What are you asking in your prayers? Because it's not about getting some benefits out of nothing. Or it's not asking somebody to do this or that. If it's not in your plan, it's not going to happen. So all we can pray is for whatever was planned to happen, and for you to understand whatever was planned for you. It's kind of hard because we don't know what it is. But it's easier to understand this way, because if you pray for $1 million today and your prayer is granted, there are researches that people that won the lotto without being prepared for that in less than 7 years lost everything, because they were not prepared for that kind of faith. They just kill everything that they want. So watch what you ask for. Sometimes you can get it. And when we are young, I don't think it happens to you, but we most ask for things that if they didn't come in time, we're going to give up. But you make the effort. You put energy in motion. And the universe will give back to you no matter what. Oh, now it's too late. I don't want this anymore. You're bad. Because you asked for that and the universe brought back to you. So watch what you want. You will get it. Not in the time that you want, but you will get it. Prayer must be an intimate expansion of the soul towards God. Chico Xavier, which was the greatest medium in Brazil, used to say prayer, woven our harmony and trust, is strength, imprinting the compass of living faith, restoring the landscape in which we live, and charting new directions for a higher life. I love the restore the landscape. Restore the landscape means that restore your faith in something that you are seeing as broken, in something that you're seeing that maybe there's no way out. But when you pray, you attract, like Annabella just said, energies to support your will, to support your understanding that that thing can happen. Let's see, what else can I do to make it happen? Because When a thought is direct to someone, either on earth or in space, from an incarnate to a discarnate being, or vice versa, or even from an incarnate to an incarnate being, a fluid current established between them, which transmits the thought from one to the other, just as air transmits sound. Are we still talking about Spiritism here? Yes, we are. In a different way. Now we're talking about science. Right? This is waves of energy. Energy can carry positive vibrations or negative vibrations. If spirits are energy, they will respond to that kind of energy. So when you pray to somebody, that prayer will reach that person in a good or in a bad way. The problem is, whatever goes, comes back. If you are sending something negative, don't think that something positive will come back to you. That's the law, right? Prayer is a very important act of connecting with the higher planes of life. Unfortunately, it is not yet fully understood or exercised by the most of those who pray, even by people who have greater clarification regarding the action of magnetic fluids and spiritual protection. Men in general only see the present. Now, if suffering is useful for future happiness, God will let you suffer. Hard to hear that, right? Just as the surgeon lets the patient suffer the pains of an operation that will bring him a cure. What God will grant to men, if he asks with confidence, is courage, patience, and resignation. Have you ever asked for courage, for patience, and resignation? Have you ever asked for patience? Yeah? What God gave you? A little potion delivered by UPS or Amazon, and you just mix with water, and boom, you become a Buddha for 25 hours? No, right? What is going to deliver to you? Annoying people. Because patience is like a muscle. You need to exercise. You're not going to exercise patience with people that are nice to you. So please don't say that every time I pray for something good, something bad happens. You don't know what you're praying for. You don't use your free will in the right way. If you don't want annoying people, don't ask for patience. That's simple. It will also grant you the means to get rid of difficulties yourself through ideas that will make the good spirits suggest to you, thus leaving you in the merit of action. He assists those who help themselves according to this maxim: help yourself, and the heaven will help you. We always think that we need to receive in order to give. It's opposite. When you give, you start a motion. The motion will come back to you. If you wait, good luck. Tomorrow still be Friday. Probably nothing's going to change. But yeah, you can still wait. We don't know. For us Spiritists, prayer has a special characteristics in addition to an ordinary medication developed by science. Magnetism shows us the power of fluid action, and Spiritism reveals another powerful force in the healing mediumship and the influence of prayer. But it's not just that, right? There are so many other ones. If you recognize the capacity of magnetic fluid so that the creatures influence each other, will much more amplitude and efficiency. It will act on the cellular entities of the organic state. So we think that we go to the passage room in order to somebody do like a little wind, Oh, if it doesn't have too much wind, that's not too much power. We create all this kind of, images in our brain. No. If you go there and start thinking about what you're going to do when you leave, what you ate before, what time is it, you're just a blank, You're not going to receive any energy until you are willing or opening to receive that kind of energy that comes from the passes. Prayer is the same. It can be around you forever if you don't open yourself to that. When Jesus said, your faith save you, is because he was looking for something for the man to give to him in order for him to put his energy inside. And the vehicle was faith. Without faith, they will get nothing out of him. If you don't align yourself with the prayer, don't align yourself with other people, that energy will stay around you, but it's not going to do anything. Make sense? Okay. Wow, if doctors would pray. Do you think that doctors pray? Yes, no, maybe? All of the above? Some? That's one doctor that prays. He just came. Thank you. You came in the right time, my friend. So, when we pray, we activate the frontal lobes and the language area related to the concentration and the emotional part. And this act is understood as a physical training for the mind. Oh, was that a spiritist person saying? No, he was a doctor. Go figure. Dr. Andrew Newberg from Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia. Yeah.
You say you were a doctor?
I'm an audiologist, yeah.
Okay. They were saying something about, I don't know if it comes from the spiritists, but I read something about the terminal zero nerve. They haven't really, over the years, they never had a lot of research about it, but they know it's connected to our subconscious.
That is a study from Dr. Dana Zohar called the point God in the brain. And she talks about the spiritual quotient. And although it lacks a little bit of scientific proof, she's doing pretty good outside talking to companies about that and stuff. That is sometimes, that a synopsis is like, it's a touch base, right? When you have some idea, it's like, of course, I'm trying to figure out the words and it doesn't come, but that's okay. There's sometimes when come chromosome, forget about it. Just blank that out. It will come. But yes, that's sometimes that our system is pointing to a blank space in our brain, and it's still pointing out, and there's nothing there but gray mass. Interesting, because it does that more than one time. It's not random. So what? Yeah, go ahead.
I mentioned to you, I think you've heard of that study that was done years ago with the MRI, where they would mention the word God in any different language, any different way that people would regard it, and it had the same response in the brain no matter what.
Yeah, words have power. Words are nothing but a wave of energy, and when you say God and you put your heart in that word, because it means so much to us, yes, it will affect the brain in a very nice way. And having this study saying that they affect mostly the same way every time, it means that it's a very special word, it's a very special energy coming from that. Thanks for adding that, Richard. The American Cancer Society say that patients with strong religious beliefs respond better to treatment. As a matter of fact, they get good health faster. Interesting. The Moffitt Center in Florida, believing in a higher strength generates more physical and mental health. Nothing this comes from spiritism, guys. Everything comes from science. And if you look here, spirituality, logic, and science meet perfectly in spiritism. And that's how it is. And thank God, from the Middle Ages, where scientists were crucified or burned because they defied the church by the time, they're coming back and they're proving what Spiritism and other religions say about faith, about prayer, about the benefits of that. So please start thinking about praying more, because I don't know, I'm from every Brazilian is mostly from the Catholic, right? Yeah, Catholic Church. And from the Catholic Church, who prays too much, it's like not a good thing. We used to make fun of them. We call them names. And because of that, I think we got some, reframe ourselves to pray too much, because you don't want to be this kind of person. Please be this kind of person. Be this kind of person with intent. Be this kind of person, because you are only attracting good things for you and for the ones that you pray for. Your body feels your faith. It's not just your soul. In San Francisco General Hospital in California, prayer also works on healthy individuals, influencing the immune system. Well, what did you have the pandemic? Because our immune system went kaput. Right? We're so sick. Because it's not just your body that can destroy your immune system. Normally it's your brain. Normally it's your belief system that can destroy everything. Yeah, but praying do the opposite. MRI machines are confirming what faith always knew. The mind is not a passenger, it's the co-pilot of your healing. The mind is not there just, to pay for the ride. It helps pretty much. So you need to understand what comes to your inside your mind, and you need to direct to positive information. The easiest way to change that is to pray, because we used to pray. You cannot control. We have here every last Thursday of the month, we have the meditation series. I tell you, sometimes it's hard for me to meditate. They start directing and see the field, and all of a sudden I'm seeing absolutely nothing. Prayer, if you ask me to pray, I can pray without a problem. We've been taught to pray since our early ages, so it's not that difficult for us than other things that will create the same relief for us as prayer. So it's the easiest one. Why not use it? Pray changes the quality of thoughts. The mind is a source of healing or destructive energy. Have you noticed? Yeah. When I make fun, I do something here and I try to, get to you guys with a quiz or something like that. Say, well, I have a good and a bad news. Which one you prefer first? And most of the time you guys say bad. And that's how our brain works. Because the brain works to protect our body. So tell me what is bad, that way I can prepare myself to, and then you tell me what is good, and everything is good. But we always look for the bad things first, then the good things. Don't do that when you pray. Try to convince your brain that it's good to think about good things, because you're going to vibrate in a good energy. Thought gives healing quality to the fluids. Every thought is a fluid, and fluid becomes form. Fluid, it's fluid. But if you start working with fluid, it can become a form. You can check on the Spiritist material on the internet. There are a lot of mediums that the spirits use their plasma, which is a fluid that we have inside of us, to materialize themselves. So they're using the fluid to become a form, to give information, to prove that they exist, and everything in between. What are you building with your thinking? what are you building with your thinking? Are you building good things? Are you building bad things? Today I was coming here, I was listening to Napoleon Hill. I found a very interesting piece. It was like 15 minutes talking about the power of the mind. He's far from being spiritist. Everything that he said is proven by spiritism. Isn't that funny? He was the guy that was hired by Rockefeller to interview all the millionaires of the time and see what they have in common. Why they thrive when people fail. And what he puts in words and books, it's amazing. It's all about controlling the brain. You just don't put the faith on it, but all about controlling what comes to your brain. The easiest way to refine or to filter is through prayer. You're not going to pray for something bad. At least I hope so. Well, prayer and spiritism. Although you can use it, okay, don't get me wrong, but you don't need a candle, you don't need an incense to pray. You can use it anytime you want. Okay? There's no right or wrong on that. But if you think that is a routine or a method or, something, a ritual, you don't need this. You just need to start talking. You just need to start, thinking about your emotions and asking for something or thinking about something that happened to you. I was talking about you the other day, telling that you're not evolved enough to think about your arm when you hurt your arm, but we will get there sometimes. You just need intention, guys. Intention. Prayer is the technology of the soul. It's the spiritual Wi-Fi. So the youngsters can understand a little better this terminology. That's the way that you talk to others, not just God. That's the way that you send a fantastic email or SMS or whatever you guys use these days to wish good things. That's the prayer. So is that not that old, right? Now it's something that, if you wish something good for a friend of yours, a girl that you like, a boy that you like, you can always pray for them. You don't need to tell them, but you can always pray for them. What is the value of prayer, though? Prayer is of enormous importance and inestimable value. Prayer without posture is noise. If you pray just for people to see you praying, it's just wasting your time and maybe somebody's time that is listening to you. Prayer with actions becomes transformation. Have you noticed that you cannot fool your belly just by reading the menu? Or just me? Prayer without action is trying to get full by reading the menu. You don't put in practice what you're saying, your words. That's it. Tomorrow still be Friday, nothing's going to change. Walk the talk. Do your part. Start the movement yourself and see the energy coming back to you from the movement that you start. Prayer to achieve best result must be followed by action, attitude, the desire to positively change our behavior, our posture, and composure. The sincere desire to do better each day, even in a little by little, but in a continuous and permanent way. Sometimes for me it was really hard to see or to admit that Jesus is our model because I'm so far from him. that if I try to follow his steps, I'm going to trip. Let me tell you right now, I'm going to trip. I cannot do that. Well, what if I built a tiny little stair to get to the first step of him with like 255 stages? That'll be something that I can do. It's not the way. You have to learn that they didn't say mimic what he did in that sense, but try to understand why he did this or that, and try to do the same in your way. We're not closer to be, we don't have the Calcutta surname or Mandela or any of those guys that came here and changed the humanity. But we can change one or two of our friends. We can change one or two of our relatives. And that'll be enough. We did pretty good so far. So why not? So, who are you praying for? Notice that I didn't say, what are you praying for? Who are you praying for? Wow. I can cut the air with a knife right now. Did not Jesus promise heaven answer to those who ask in his name? So, you're praying, who are you praying for? Yourself? The problem isn't asking, it's who you're asking for and why. Even Jesus asks God, if that's out of your will, please spare me from this chalice, right? In a moment of weakness, one of the only moments of weakness that we know of. How many times we ask to be spared from the chalice? Of pain, of things that in the end will make us who we are now. Who here never said, I want to give the best to my kid. I don't want him to suffer as I did. And the question is, why? Have you killed somebody? Have you been in jail? Have you, I don't know, make something bad for somebody? Are you a bad person? Why don't you want your kid to experience what he needs to experience? Why do you need to make his life so easy that in the end, he doesn't learn the lessons that he were compromised when he born in your family to learn? Don't be crazy and say, hey, you need this. No, nothing like this. But come on. We get stronger by learning our lessons. And if we spare the lessons to our kids or to somebody else, probably it's a lesson not learned, and he will need to learn later. When? Maybe another incarnation. We don't know. So sometimes we are thinking of making a good thing for somebody, but we don't know why it is happening to this person. And that's why we say, so be it, guys. So be it, not something, oh yes, so be it, or poor me. No. So be it's like, if you cannot change the thing right now, are you going to still trying to use all your energy to change something that you know that's not going to change? So be it. Maybe tomorrow this person is going to change. Maybe in a week, maybe in a month, maybe next year. We don't know. So be it. I agree, maybe to disagree, but I'm not going to try to push you to do something that you not see in front of you. I can spend hours and hours telling that you're sick, and if you don't see sickness in you, I'm praying in the desert. Nobody's listening to me. It's just me trying to do something. So, who are you asking for and why? Is the reason really something that you think that the high spirits will use their energy to help? That is a tale from Brother X, that he said that his mentor, and like other spirits went to a hospital through a room, and everybody was praying to God to get better, to relieve from the pain. And they were so in tune, like he got so, touched by the prayer. He looked at the mentor and said, we come here to help. Can we do anything for these guys? And the mentor, to teach him a lesson, said, yeah, go ahead. All of you, go ahead. Give passes. Make them feel better. We come here tomorrow. The other day, they went back to the room. Everybody was better. Not even one person was praying. They were thinking about bad things about the family or finances or this or that. So they only pray when they feel pain. Is that something that we want for ourselves? No. But that's a thing in life. Things happen this way. People act this way, and we don't know why. But sometimes it's not for us to know why. It's for us to know why. Who are we asking for, and why are we asking for? When my mom was about to die, that's the only time that I fight with Jesus or with God. Because she was like 2 months in the hospital, morphine base, and that's the only time comfort that she could find, because the rest is just pain. So when she got moved to another facility, I went there and said, I know that I need to understand things that I don't. But I just want you to tell me, why does this lady has to prove more? She's been in pain for such a long time. What else do you need from her? At noon, at this day, she passed away. She discarnated. That's the only time I didn't doubt, but I was such touched by her pain that I said, why? Wasn't this a prayer? Wasn't the best, not the best prayer, but wasn't that a prayer as well? Do what you need to do, but please tell me why. Why that much pain? I don't know what she did in life. I don't know who she was before she incarnated as my mother. I don't know anything. But sometimes we cannot help to feel things about other people. So that's why you have to understand, am I asking for the right thing and for the right person? Are we pleading in the name of Christ or the vanities of the world? So, am I asking for me to have money to help my kids because they cannot help themselves? That'll be nice. But what if they need to learn with not having money on how to work by themselves? We don't know, right? Asking in Jesus' name. This is from the Gospel by Emmanuel, the Gospel from John by Emmanuel. The name is not a password. Jesus is not a password. It's a frequency that changes everything. Observe the substance of your prayers. To ask in His name is not to say it out loud. It's to vibrate in the same love. Hard, right? Because we don't have this love that Jesus had. But we have love inside of us. Try to connect to that before prayer. Those who are discouraged with prayer confess the childishness of their pleas. Because they are not asking for something greater. They are not asking for evolve. They are asking for something material that will make their life better. What if by making their life better, they're gonna commit more troubles to their soul than when they have nothing? We don't know as well. And how to pray. How to pray. How to pray. How do you pray?
Well, typically I start by saying, by asking for baptism in my and then I also start
sometimes if the day was good, I say thank you for the day, or even if the day was hard, I still say thank you for the new day. And then I also start, because I'm grateful to be alive and for the things I have. And then I also typically ask for anything I might need, or even for the unexpected.
Just a disclaimer here, she's one of a kind, okay? She's not a typical G.I. Joe, okay? But she thinks about good things and not that good things as well. And that's the way of doing, and that's the way of keeping your energy high. And that's the way of keeping bad energy away from you. And bad energy can be spirits too, right? So just so you know, bad energy can be bad spirits. And they can communicate with us the same way that good spirits can communicate with us, with frequency. If you are vibrating the same frequency as them, they can suggest ideas to you. Remember we talked about the power of controlling what comes to your brain? Frequency can do that too. In the soul's dialogue with the higher potencies, language must not be prepared or organized in advance, and above all, must not be a formula. We learn so many formulas. It doesn't need to be a formula, right? Is that a right time to pray? Is that a right time to pray?
Anytime.
Anytime, right? Is that a wrong time to pray? No? There's one time that is not right. Think about it. If prayer has to be something pure, if prayer has to be something that is connect to your soul, when is the only time that you should not pray? When you not feel like it. Because it's a fake. You're not putting anything on it. You're not putting any energy. If you don't feel motivated, don't pray. It is better not to pray at all than to pray only with your mouth. That's the only time that you should not pray. You're going to pray to impress the others? There is a medium in Brazil called Divaldo Franco. He already discarnated too. But he was telling about one high guy from another spiritist center that went to the place that he built. And when they received somebody from outside, they asked them to make the prayer for lunch. Lunch is big in Brazil. And the guy started talking about the Old Testament in the prayer. And Divaldo was thinking, oh my God, until he got to nowadays, the kids are going to starve. You don't need to do this. That's not what he was asking in the prayer for the guy to pray. It was something, single, with substance, but not like and put all the formulas. That doesn't work, guys. If you're not feeling like praying, please do not pray. That's how it is. So I ask who? Now I'm going to ask what? What should we pray for? To have money? To get cured from a bad disease? For your mom to get cured from a bad disease? What should we pray for?
Strength, courage.
Bingo, my friend.
I got one or two.
You're on fire. Pray for strength. Why? Because we need strength to go through some challenges in life. And not to avoid challenges in life. Because if a challenge comes to you, you need to learn with that. But you need to have strength to go through that. Otherwise, it's hard. As to become the kind of soul who walks through them without forgetting the light. In response, good spirits bring to their earth brothers inspiration that sustain them against material influence and favors noble and wholesome thoughts. When you ask for protection, protection will come. But not protection to make you get better in life just because. Protection, period. So what is the greatest prayer of all? Yeah, the one from your heart. The soul that learns to pray learns to live. Interesting, right? To pray is to rise in spirit even when the body cannot move. All you need, if you are tetraplegic, you still can pray. We had one person here that, Tatiana, until the end she was here and receiving passes and praying and believing, and she was with a degeneration disease that simply liquefied the muscles and the bones and everything. So, but she was praying. That's what she could do, and that's what she did. The Lord's Prayer, I believe, is the most perfect prayer that we learn, right? It's written in Aramaic on a marble stone in Jerusalem, Palestine, on the Mount of Olives, in a form invoked by Yeshua. Yeshua means salvation. And the translation from Aramaic to English shows us how beautiful, profound, and true this prayer is. I know that we don't do any, when we pray the Lord's Prayer here in the beginning, as Tim did, we ask you guys not to follow with words. You can follow in your heart, you can follow in your brain. But this one, I'm going to break the protocol. I'm going to ask you to follow through, because this is a different version of the Lord's Prayer. And I think that if you put a lot of soul, a lot of intention in these words, we're going to get out of here a lot better. So, shall we?